The Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security Investigations will come to order without objection. The chair is authorized to declare recesses of the subcommittee at any time. We welcome everyone to today's hearing on the challenges facing law enforcement in the 21st century. And I would recognize myself for an opening statement. Just a matter of quick personal indulgence. I would ask everyone to please remember our friend and colleague Tom Tillis from North Carolina. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I want to thank Chairman Goodlatte for this hearing. This week we celebrate National Police Week, and that's important to all the members of this subcommittee that we have a hearing to honor our law enforcement officers. I want to extend a special thank you to our witnesses for being here. We have with us today Chuck Canterbury, the National President of the Fraternal Order of Police, my own personal chief and Director of Public Safety, Alonzo Thompson from the great City of Spartanburg, South Carolina, Sheriff Jim McDonald from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and Chief Art Acevedo. Is that close? Forgive me, I'm from South Carolina. I may get it wrong before I get it right again. From the great city of Houston, Texas. Each of you here today and all of our law enforcement officers across the nation dedicate your lives and their lives to the precept which undergirds our country, and that is respect for and adherence to the rule of law. And I know every member, not only of the subcommittee, but every member of Congress would have their own personal story about how officers have impacted their lives and would have their own personal testimony to the respect that they have for the women and men of law enforcement. I know as I was preparing for this hearing, my mind went to an officer in Greenville, South Carolina, by the name of Alan Jacobs. Alan, about this time last year, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, learned that he was going to be a father again, but this time it was going to be different. He had two boys, and this time he was going to be the father of a little girl. And life had prepared Alan very well to be a father. He was an outstanding student. He was a great athlete in Greenville, South Carolina. He put that athleticism and intelligence to work for our country in the United States Army. He was deployed to Iraq for 15 months and even volunteered to live in the neighborhoods of Baghdad because he understood that all people want to live in a peaceful, secure environment. And after Iraq, Alan was deployed to Haiti because he wanted to help the Haitian people in the aftermath of their tragic earthquake. But the tug of fatherhood is strong. And it's so strong that Alan decided to return to the upstate of South Carolina. But his desire to serve and protect remained. So he left the uniform of the United States Army and he put on the uniform of the Greenville City Police Department. And he pursued that calling with the same vigor and the same strength and the same professionalism that epitomized every other facet of his life. Whether it was service on the SWAT team, or the cops on the court, as a patrol officer, for schools or for a gang resistance team, Alan would stop his patrol car from time to time, carried a basketball in the trunk, just get out and shoot basketball with the kids that could use a father figure like the one that he was providing to his own boys and would provide to his daughter. I learned all of this about Alan in a telephone call that I had with his mother 2 days before his funeral. This man that survived Iraq and Haiti and boot camp and police officer training could not and did not survive an encounter with a teenage gang member who had just been released from jail. Never even had a chance to unholster a service weapon. Serve, defend, protect. He was ambushed. His funeral gave all of us in South Carolina an opportunity to reflect not only on his life, but Chief Thompson, the life of Jason Harris, who we just lost in your own department, responding to a call for backup from one of his fellow officers, or Russ Sorrow, or Kevin Carper, or Marcus Whitfield, or Eric Nicholson, or any of the officers in the upstate of South Carolina who gave the most precious thing they had so they could protect the most precious thing we have, which is life. Law enforcement officers are willing to do what most of us are not willing to do, and they're willing to interact with people that most of us are not willing to interact with, and they are willing to miss things in life that most of us are not willing to miss. So today we're not only here to honor you, but we're here to listen, and we're here in part to memorialize those officers who lost their lives in the line of duty, but also to respect and pay honor to those that are still with us. So I want to thank you for being here, and I am most interested in how we can help you do your jobs. There are challenges in our criminal justice system. I want a system that is not only respected, but worthy of respect. And there's not a system we have in our country that can't be improved. And I am more than willing to hear ideas on how to improve it. But there is something different about law enforcement officers. And if we lose that sight of that as a society, that not only do they wear a uniform and a badge, but they serve symbolically as a line between law and order and those folks that are not of good conscience. If we ever lose sight of that, we're in trouble as a republic. So thank all witnesses. I look forward to hearing from you. With that, I would recognize the gentlelady from Texas.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for your courtesies, and to the witnesses, thank you for your courtesy as well. I was in a leadership meeting, and I thank you for recognizing, or at least accepting, my apologies for my delay. This is a very important hearing, and as the chairman has indicated, it is important that we try to help each other, law enforcement and community. And I want to acknowledge Sheriff Jim McDonald, Chief Alonzo Thompson, Mr. Chuck Canterbury, and Chief Art Acevedo for your presence here today. And to say to you that we acknowledge in this week those who live and those who have fallen. And we need to ensure that those who live recognize that we never want to see any more tragedies and families not seeing their loved one come home. In particular, I want to acknowledge Assistant Deputy Chief Clinton Greenwood of Harris County Constable's Office, who was literally executed and died on 4/3/17. Officer Richard K. Martin of Houston Police Department died on 5/18/15. Deputy Sheriff Harris County Sheriff Darren Goforth, 8/28/15. Detective Jerry Ronald Walker of the Little Elm Police Department died in January 17, and then 5 officers. These are among others in Dallas who died July 6, 2016. Brent Thompson, Sergeant Michael Smith, Senior Corporal Lauren Ahrens, Officer Patrick Zamara, and Officer Michael Kroll. I went to that memorial and stood with those family members, and we will never forget. It is important in today's hearing to explore the challenges and seek strategies for modernizing and reforming our law enforcement practices and policies in order to increase police safety nationwide and prevent the use of lethal force against unarmed citizens and selfless law enforcement officers. We want to make sure that we look at both sides of the issue, and particularly we want to hear from you about building trust and respect. We want to understand what has been used by many, police militarization, or how we can balance the protection that the community needs with the various assets that you utilize. The need for responsible and comprehensive data. I believe that data is the science of police work. And then, of course, to be able to deal with the question of lethal force and protecting your lives and those of the community. As Judge Learned Hand said, if we are to keep our democracy, there must be one commandment: thou shalt not ration justice. And so today I look forward to hearing from you as well. And in keeping with this idea of justice, I just want to make a point, Mr. Chairman, that I have made before, and that is that this full committee, and we are the subcommittee on crime, as the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, subcommittee led by our esteemed Senator Lindsey Graham, we must have a full investigation and demand an investigation of the President, the Attorney General, and top White House aides. Democrats on the oversight and the Judiciary Committee are asking for all memorandum that deals with the ending of the tenure of Director Comey, and as well the allegation that the President asked Director Comey to end the Flynn investigation, and certainly the release of classified information, recognizing that the president can release classified information, but what jeopardy have they put assets and intelligence community members in, and of course our allies. I read into the record, we are concerned that the continued failure of House Republicans to take action in the face of this onslaught of allegations will cause significant damage to the faith that the American people have in the credibility and integrity of our committees and the House of Representatives. We have a solemn obligation under the Constitution to act as a check on the executive branch and to hold the President Trump accountable. Again, not as Democrats and Republicans, but as Americans. It is time that we work together to be able to find the truth, and obviously the truth will be our guide. I thank all of you for your service and your commitment to law and order and to the Constitution, and for the service that we will never be able to thank you for as you protect the American people. I thank you so very much. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.